Welcome, one and all. Let's jump right into it. First things first, generational trauma is one of those special subjects that falls on the intersection between science and spirituality, including disciplines such as psychology and biology, as well as history and anthropology. It takes the loop through all the disciplines, basically. You could definitely even make the argument that art should be included in that list. So, generational trauma is simply the understanding that we do not exist in a silo, that the experiences of generations before us affect us in some way. It is said in both scientific and spiritual circles that the trauma of our ancestors, as well as the positives, can be stored within our bodies. By clearing our bodies, we create a ripple effect across time. I'll say this occasionally throughout videos such as these on this channel in the hopes that the message is able to be heard by a few more people. I'm coming from a traditional earth-based perspective, and a lot of what I talk about is literal for me. If you consider yourself to be more secular and want to approach these things from an archetypal Jungian perspective, I welcome that, and benefiting from contemplation and practice is still possible this way. Let's go a little deeper into art as it relates to generational trauma and the clearing thereof. So, dance and music have been forms of ritual prayer since the very beginning of human creativity, and continue to be used across cultures as a way of clearing unwanted energy, manifesting, and communicating with ancestors and deities. Science has shown us that singing stimulates the vagus nerve, resulting in soothing for the nervous system. It's also been shown that 45 minutes of drawing can lower cortisol, the stress hormone. Creative practices are often literally physically healthy for us. Personally, I've had experiences, particularly during ecstatic dance, of feeling my ancestors dancing with me, or having revelations of deeper understanding for different family members. And I'll speak more about how you might be able to explore this towards the end of the video. It's been said many times that by caring for ourselves, we become more available to being present with our communities. This is the obvious effect. Keeping things on a secular note for a moment here, consider how you showing up more presently from a more heart-led place during your lifetime is going to affect your children, your grandchildren, or your nieces, your nephews, or the community kids who you interact with on a weekly basis in your neighborhood. A phrase that's been going around lately that is so beautiful that I really connect with is "we are the new ancestors," which is such an important way of framing our lives and realizing that just as we live our lives, we're continuing the stories of our ancestors. And so just that by itself is already doing so much. I also believe, as do many cultures around the world, that one person meditating or praying or healing affects the rest of us. So by applying this kind of caregiving energy not only to yourself but to your ancestors, you may beneficially affect more than you are currently aware of, even transmuting connections and experiences that your ancestors had during their lives. I spoke earlier about ecstatic dance. Personally, I started ecstatic dance before I knew the modern term for it. I found a place in my personal practice where my body wanted to and needed to move completely spontaneously in order to process the energy coming up within it. Ecstatic dance often takes place in a group, but you can certainly do it in solitude. Both are powerful in different ways. Personally, I started out doing it in solitude, and now when I do ecstatic dance in a group, I already know what it feels like to feel like I'm moving from my body and not my head, although the subtleties of what that feels like are different every time. So you can start by just tuning into your body and moving the way it wants you to move with the music. It's as simple as that. I recommend listening to music without lyrics or with lyrics in a language you don't really understand, but this isn't a requirement. You might find yourself entering a sort of trance state and experiencing emotions come up during your dance. If you want to apply a specific and powerful prompt, try dancing for specific family members. So on their behalf, basically. Imagine that you're expressing them through your dance. You can switch between family members and tell a story of your family with your dance. For me, this has led to a deeper understanding of myself and my family and brought me closer to feelings of acceptance. So I use dance here as the primary example, but do keep in mind that this can be done through any creative medium or form of expression that you feel called to. I'm very much looking forward to the release of the 3rd season of The Bear. It's a cooking show, but there are a lot of themes in there about generational trauma, And I know that one of the creators of the show has spoken publicly a little bit about personally relating to some of the family dynamics that showed up in The Bear. So you could say that creating a show like that and working on it, especially working on it in community and being able to see the collective responses to it, is a form of shadow work for that creative person. Even though presumably it's more of a recent generational trauma, so 1 to 2 generations back, what that creative is doing in that case is pulling those things up to the surface and alchemizing them into artwork and clearing a lot of the charge around it, possibly, certainly empowering themselves in some way, and like I said, possibly reaching new places of acceptance. And the beautiful thing about art, creating it and releasing it, is that by them doing so for themselves and their family, there are so many who are able to do the same thing just by witnessing the art. That's something we're going to be speaking about a lot more on this channel, so if that resonates with you or sparks your curiosity, then I recommend that you subscribe. That's everything for this video, very short and sweet. I'd love if you subscribed. Have a beautiful rest of your day and night. Bye.